Hello everyone, and peace be upon you all, and welcome to my channel once again. In today's video I'm going to show you guys how to crochet this simple baby poncho. This baby poncho is a little bit different from the other baby ponchos we normally make, because in normal baby ponchos we make the baby ponchos with granny stitch, but in this poncho we are going to use some different kinds of stitches. The first stitch we are going to use is that we are going to make V stitches, and then in the next round we are going to make one front post double crochet into first and last double crochet of that V stitch, and then we are going to make 3 double crochet chain 2, 3 double crochet into the chain 3 space of that V stitch. It gives it a little swirly or frilly texture and look. It's because we are going to make a lot of stitches into this V stitch. And then on the neckline I have made simple front post and back post double crochets. By making these front post and back post double crochet, it gives it a finishing look, it gives the neckline fitting, and also it gives it a very good finishing texture. So the yarn I used in this baby poncho is that it's a 100 gram of yarn, and into this 100 gram of yarn there is 360 meters of the yarn, and this is it's a metallic yarn. You can use any kind of or any ply of the yarn you want to use, and I'll try to zoom in and tell you a little bit more about the yarn. It's a Magic Glids yarn by Ice Yarn, and I'm using 4mm crochet hook. So let's get started. We are going to start our poncho at the neckline from this point. The brown part of the poncho, this is where we started our poncho, and so let's get started. To start our poncho, we are going to start it with the basic chains, and for that, first of all, we are going to make a slip knot, and then we are going to make just simple plain chains, and we are going to make 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we are going to make total 64 basic chains, and I will make rest of the chains off camera and then I will resume the video. I have made the 64 basic chains, and now I am going to slip stitch into the first starting chain. This is our first chain. I'm going to slip stitch into that, and now we have a big ring, I will call it. There is just one simple small thing which I would like to just explain, and which is that if you want your I made 64 basic chains to start my neckline. If you want your neckline to be a little bit more wider, then you have to add 8 more chains to it. Like I made 64 chains. If you want it a little bit more wider, then you will make 72 chains. If you want it a little bit more wider, then you will add 80 chains. The multiple stitches are 8. The multiple chains I will call is 8. You can add any numbers of stitches which can be divided by 8. Now I will chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, 3 have. this starting chain 2 is chain 3 we just made, it counts as our first double crochet, and then we are going to make one simple plain double crochet into each and every chain. So we are going to make just simple basic double crochet. I'm going to make rest of the double crochet off camera, then I will resume my video when I'm at the end of this round, so I can save some time. So here I have completed the round by making one plain double crochet in every chain. At the end of this round I should end up with 64 double crochet. So I'm going to slip stitch on the top of this chain 3, starting chain 3, and this completes our first round. Now before working on the next round we need to do some stitch marking, and for that the stitch we just made, the chain 3 stitch of the last round, this is our central point of this point. This is the point, this is the central point of the front. This is where we are going to place a stitch marker on the same central point on the back side. This is where we are going to start our work, and this is the other central point of our back side. There are two central points. So what we are going to do for that is that we made 64 stitches, so half of 64 is 32. So what we are going to do, we are going to count our 32 stitches. 32. This is our 32nd stitch. We are going to place a stitch marker, the stitch after this 32nd stitch, this one. This is our 33rd stitch. So what we are going to do, we are going to place a stitch marker into our 33rd stitch. You should end up with equal numbers of stitches. I mean, from this point, from our starting point to one stitch before stitch marker, you should have 32 stitches, and from this stitch marker to the last stitch of the last round, you should have 32 stitches. There should be 32 stitches on the both side stitch. To start our next round, what we are going to do is we are going to make chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This counts as our first double crochet, so we are going to make 2 more double crochets into same stitch. 1 double crochet and second double crochet. Now we are going to make chain 2, 1, 2, and then we are going to make 3 more double crochets into this same stitch. 1, 2, and 3. This starting chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, so we made 2 more double crochets after that. Then we made chain 2, and then we made 3 double crochets. So there are going to be 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet into same stitch. Then we are going to make chain 2, and then we are going to skip our 3 double crochet, first, second and third, and into next we are going to make a V stitch, which is that we are going to make a double crochet, and then we are going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we are going to make 1 more double crochet into same stitch. Normally we make V stitch with the chain 1 or 2, but in this poncho we are going to make chain 3. Then we are going to skip next 3 double crochet, 1, 2, 3, and into the fourth we are going to make another V stitch by making 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then one more double crochet into the same stitch. This completes our second V stitch. Skip next 3 double crochet and then make a V stitch into the next, and then skip 3 double crochet and then a V stitch into the next all the way to the end until we reach just before the stitch marker. You should end up with 7 V stitches on this side. If you made the same numbers of chains as I did, then you should end up with 7 V stitches plus our corners, central corners. So we have 3 more double crochets left. 1, 2, 3. We are going to skip these 3 double crochets and into next stitch, which is the stitch where we placed our stitch marker. We are going to make 3 double crochet, 1, 2 and 3 and then we are going to make chain 2 and then 3 more double crochets into same stitch. This completes our second central point. So now what we are going to do is that we are going to repeat our pattern from this point to this point on the other side, from this point to the end of this round. So what we are going to do, we are going to skip next 3 double crochet and then, oh sorry, I made a mistake here. I'm sorry, my bad. What you are going to do is that before the central point you have to make chain 2 and then skip next 3 double crochet and make 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and then make chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into the same stitch. This completes our other central point. There is just one thing you need to know, that you have to make chain 2 before and after our central point. So I'm going to make chain 2, 1 and 2, and then I'm going to skip next 1, 2, 3 double crochet, and then into the fourth one I'm going to make a V stitch by making 1 double crochet, chain 3 and then 1 more double crochet into same stitch. This is the pattern I'm going to repeat all the way to the end, which is that I'm going to skip next 3 double crochet and then I will make a V stitch into the next all the way to the end. So I have completed the other side of the poncho also. So at the end of this round you should end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 V stitches. We had 7 V stitches on the other side of the poncho, so we should have 7 V stitches on this side as well. Now we are going to make chain 2 and then we are going to slip stitch on the top of starting chain 3, which is third chain of the starting chain. So now we are going to slip stitch into our next 2 double crochets, the first one, and slip stitch into the second one and then into this central point, this chain 2 space as well. We are going to slip stitch into chain 2 space as well. Then we are going to make starting 3 chains, 1, 2, we are going to chain 3 and then we are going to make 2 more double crochets into this same chain 2 space, 1 and 2, and now we will make chain 2, 1 and 2 and then 3 more double crochets into same chain 2 space, 1, 2 and 3. This completes our central point. Our starting chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, so we have 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet into our central point. So make chain 2 and then you are going to make a front post double crochet into the first double crochet of our first available V stitch. Make a front post double crochet around the first double crochet of the V stitch, and then into the chain 3 space of the V stitch I'm going to make 3 double crochet, 1 2 3, and then chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into same chain 3 space of the stitch, 1 2 and 3. This is how it looks. It's a front post double crochet, then 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet into chain 3 space. Now I will make one more front post double crochet into the last double crochet of the V stitch. One front post double crochet into that. Then I will make one front post double crochet on around the first double crochet of the next V stitch, one front post double crochet, and then I will make 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets into this chain 3 space of the V stitch, 1 2 3, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 more double crochets into same chain 3 space, 1 2 and 3, and then one front post double crochet into the last double crochet of this V stitch. So we are going to repeat this pattern, that we are going to make one front post double crochet into first double crochet of the V stitch, then 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet into 3 chain space of the V stitch, and then one front post double crochet into last double crochet of the V stitch. We are going to repeat until we reach our next central point. So we are at the end of this side of the crochet. As I said earlier, that we are going to make chain 2 before and after both central points. So I'm going to make chain 2, 1 and 2, and then I will make into this central chain 2 space I'm going to make 3 double crochets, 1 2 and 3, and then chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 more double crochets into same chain 2 space of the central point, like this. So now I will make chain 2 and I will repeat the pattern, which is that I will make a front post double crochet in around the first double crochet of the V stitch, like that, and then I will make 3 double crochets, 1 2 and 3 double crochets, and then chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into same chain 3 space of V stitch, and then I will make a front post double crochet into the last double crochet of the V stitch. We are going to make one front post double crochet. So this is the pattern we are going to repeat by making one front post double crochet in first and last double crochet of the V stitch, and then 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet into the chain 3 space of the V stitch all the way to the end. So I have completed the other side of the poncho as well. So as I said earlier, that we are going to make chain 2 before and after central point. So I'm going to make chain 2 and then I will slip stitch into the third starting chain or on the top of the starting chain 3. Then I'm going to slip stitch into next 2 double crochets, 1 and 2, and also into the chain 2 space so that we can reach our next starting point. Now I'm going to make chain 3, 1 2 3, and then I will make 2 more double crochets into same chain 2 space, 1 and 2, chain 2, 1 and 2, and then make 3 more double crochets into same chain 2 space, like that. So our central point is completed. Into that. So now we are going to, if you remember, we made chain 2 after central point in the last round. Into the second chain, this is first, this is second, we are going to make 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 2 and 3, and 1 more double crochet into same chain. This is our increasing point. We made an extra V stitch here, the other one we will make on the other side of here, we will make here. And now we are going to skip all the stitches, all the double crochets, and also front post double crochet, and into next available chain 2 space we are going to make another V stitch by making 1 double crochet, chain 3, 1 2 and 3, and then 1 more double crochet into that chain 2 space. Then we are going to skip all of these stitches, and into next available chain 2 space I'm going to make 1 V stitch, 1 double crochet, chain 3, and 1 more double crochet into same chain 2 space. This is the pattern we are going to repeat until we reach here. This is the last chain 2 space before our central point, what I call it. Yeah, I hope you guys understand. This is the last one. I'm going to repeat until here. Just make 1 V stitch in all the chain 2 spaces until we reach just before central point. So now here you guys can remember that here on this point we made our extra V stitch into the second chain after the central point, but here we are going to make 1 V stitch into first available chain, which is going to be the first chain after this stitch we made chain 2 in last round. Into the first chain we are going to make 1 V stitch, 1 2 and 3, and then 1 more double crochet into that. So our V stitch is completed. If you guys can remember, we had 7 V stitches last round, but we did 2 increasing, so we should end up with 9 V stitches in this round. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do chain 2, and then I will make central stitch, which is that I'm going to make 3 double crochet, 1 2 and 3, and then chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into same central point, 1 2 and 3. This completes our central point. Now I will make chain 2, 1 and 2, and this time I will make a V stitch into the second chain. This is first chain we made after central point, this is second, so I'm going to make 1 V stitch into the second chain after central point in last round. Chain 1 double crochet, chain 3, and 1 double crochet, like that. Now we will repeat, skip all the stitches, and into next available chain 2 space I'm going to make a V stitch, which is a double crochet, chain 3, 1 double crochet, and then skip all the stitches and make 1 V stitch into next available chain 2 space, and repeat this pattern by making V stitch in all chain 2 spaces until you reach just before the central point. So I'm almost at the end of this round. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make 1 V stitch in first available chain. We made chain 2 in last round, into first chain in this one. This is the first chain we made in last round. I'm going to make a V stitch by making 1 double crochet, chain 3, and then 1 more double crochet into same chain. Then I will make chain 2, and I will slip stitch into the third starting chain, or into on the top of our starting 3 chain. Then slip stitch into next 2 double crochets and then into our chain 2 space or into our central point. Then make chain 3 and then make 2 more double crochets into same chain 2 space into our central point. Then make chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into the central point. This complete. So our next round is going to be the copy of the third round, which is this round, but still I will make this round on camera so there is no confusion. I will make chain 2, 1 and 2, and then I will make a front post double crochet around the first available double crochet of the first V stitch. One front post double crochet around first double crochet of the V stitch, and then I will make 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochets into the chain 3 space of the same V stitch. 3 double crochets, chain 2, and then 3 more double crochets into same chain 3 space. 1, 2 and 3, and then I will make a front post double crochet into the second double crochet of the same V stitch, and I'm going to repeat the same pattern into next V stitch. I will make a front post double crochet into next double crochet of into first double crochet of the next V stitch, and then I will make 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochets into chain 3 space of the same V stitch. 1, 2 and 3, and then chain 2 and 3 more double crochets into same space. 1, 2 and 3, and then I will make a front post double crochet into the second double crochet of the same V stitch. This is the pattern I'm going to repeat until I reach our next central point, until here. So I have reached to our at our other central point. So I'm going to make chain 2, 1 and 2, and then I will make central stitch, which is that I'm going to make 3 double crochets, 3, and then chain 2, 1 and 2, and then 3 more double crochets into same chain 2 space or into this central point. Then I will make chain 2, 1 and 2, and then I will repeat the same pattern by making 1 front post double crochet into first double crochet of the first V stitch, and then I will make 3 double crochets, chain 2, 3 double crochets into the chain 3 space of the same V stitch, and then 1 double crochet around the second double crochet of the same V stitch. So this is 3, and then 1 front post double crochet into the second double crochet of the same V stitch. This is the pattern I'm going to repeat in all the chain 3 spaces of the V stitch until I reach at the end of this round. So I'm at the end of this round. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make chain 2, 1. So I made chain 2, and then I will slip stitch into the starting on the top of starting chain 3. So this is it. This is the pattern we are going to repeat from now on, which is that we are going to repeat our round 4th, this one, and 5th one. The last 2 rounds we are going to repeat. Just remember one thing, that when we are going to make this extra V stitch after the central point, then you have to remember just one thing, that you are going to make your extra V stitch into the second chain after the central point and into the first chain before the central point. These are two a little bit maybe confusing, but these are the points you need to just remember. V-stitch is going to be into the first chain before the central point and into the last second chain after the central point. This is the point you need to just remember. First chain before the central point, you are going to make an extra V-stitch here, and then you are going to make extra V-stitch into the second chain, which is here after the chain central point, and then you are going to make V-stitch into all the chain 2 spaces, and then you are going to repeat the same, that you are going to make V-stitch here, which is the first chain before the central point. Then you will make the central stitch, 3 double crochet, chain 2, 3 double crochet, and then you will make extra V-stitch on the other side into the second chain after the central point, which is this one. And then you will make just simple V stitches into all these chain 2 spaces all the way to the end. Just repeat these rounds and this small section of the round number 4th and 5th. Just repeat this pattern until you get your desired length of the poncho. Just repeat these two I have already made same poncho. The only difference is that the poncho I'm working on right now, it's a variegated yarn, but this one which I have already made, it's in plain yarn. This is the only difference, otherwise the pattern is same. So I will repeat the pattern round number 4th and 5th until I reach the length of the poncho. From here, from the neckline to the bottom of the poncho, when I reach the length of the poncho, I will stop working, and then we will start working on the neckline. Here when I So I have completed my poncho. The only thing which is left is that we are going to make a ribbing on the neckline to make it a little bit narrow. For that I'm going to insert my crochet hook into any stitch from the behind, like that. Join into any stitch and then grab the yarn and pull it, and then make one. This counts as our first front post double crochet. 1, 2 and 3. First front post double crochet is done. So now we are going to make a back post double crochet into next double crochet. The only thing that is different, that I used 4mm crochet hook on the poncho, but here I'm going to use 3mm crochet hook. One size smaller of the hook I'm going to use on the neckline. Then front post double crochet into the next double crochet, back post double crochet into the next. This is the pattern I'm going to repeat. I will make front post into next, back post into the next. I'm going to repeat all the way to the end when I reach here. I have reached at the end of this round. The last stitch should be back post double crochet. So what we are going to do now is that we are going to insert our crochet hook from behind. So I'm going to insert my crochet hook. This is our starting chain 3. I'm going to insert from behind. I'm going to insert crochet hook, and I will do the front post slip stitch into that chain 3. And then I'm sorry, I'm having some issue with the camera. I'll try to adjust it. Now I will make chain 3, 1, 2, 3. This counts as our first front post double crochet. So I'm going to make a back post double crochet into next back post double crochet like that. And then next is front post double crochet, so front post double crochet into next, back post double crochet into next back post double crochet, front post into the next, back post double crochet into the next. This is the pattern I'm going to repeat by making front post in all front post and back post in all back post double crochets to the end. Just simple as that. This is the front post, this is the back post. So I'm going to make front post double crochets into front post double crochets and back post double crochets into back post double crochets all the way to the end. I'm at the end of this round, so I'm going to front post slip stitch into the starting chain 3 by inserting from the behind. I'm going to repeat last round once more, or you can repeat as many times as you want to, and but I repeated it for like 3 or 4 times. So I'm going to cut the yarn and pull it snug tight. So that's it, your poncho is finished. I tried to zoom the camera a little bit out and so I can show you guys how it looks when it's finished. Due to the poor lighting, maybe you guys can't see the pattern and colors very clearly, but this is how it looks. But in reality it looks much better. But this is how it is. I tried my best to explain everything with details. If there is something that is confusing, you guys can comment below and I will try my best to help you. Thank you so much for watching, and have a nice day. Peace be upon you once again.